Well, it's been a pretty interesting day, and the game's moved forwards quite quickly. Obviously, we would have liked to have posted more batting first, on getting first use of a surface that didn't have a lot in it for the seamers. But having said that, 280's got us in the game, and picking up 2 wickets tonight certainly helped. I suppose it comes down to, once again, so we say it so often, but I think the first hour tomorrow morning is going to be extremely important, and whoever wins that hour is going to be well placed in the game.
How crucial was that last wicket, the last ball of the day? Yeah?
Well, it's very crucial for, obviously it boosts the morale, etc. But David Warner is such a quick and free scoring batsman, and while he's there, he's releasing the pressure quite quickly because he's finding boundaries. So to see the back of him, I think is a big boost. Oh, absolutely. We found ourselves in that position quite a lot recently. So we keep hoping that we're going to get a good start. If you get a good start in place, it always settles the dressing room, and everybody's that much more confident. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be, but very pleasing once again to see the Sri Lankan fight coming through in a really good fight back.
Kusal Pereira had virtually opened the innings in the morning. So how do you see and assess his way of taking up the challenge?
Taking up the challenge of what?
Playing at number 3 and as a virtual opener.
Well, he's opened many times, so batting at 3, as we saw today, is one ball difference. So it's not as though it's a big adjustment for him at all. He's capable of batting in the middle order, and he's capable of batting up top. So he settled in there nicely and did a very, very important job.
Could you just talk us through what prompted you to play him at number 3?
Well, a number of reasons, but obviously Kusal Mendes batted so well at 4, so we feel that's a spot that we'd like to see him bat in the future and build our batting around him. The other thing is that on these sort of surfaces, as the game goes on, or as the innings goes on, it often becomes harder to score, and Pereira is a very attacking player and finds boundaries easily, and when the ball's coming on, that's when he's at his best. So we didn't want to leave him too far down the order when it's tough to score.
How tough is it going to be to bat in the third and last innings?
I hope it's going to be very tough in the last innings. Yeah.
Do you think the pitch is going to really deteriorate?
I think it's going to take more spin than the last test. There's some signs of some real turn on day one, so one would think that as the game goes on, there will definitely be a lot of assistance for the spinners. So batsmen are going to be tested out on their technique against spin.
Graham, Australia has picked 2 spinners, but it's still putting a lot of emphasis on its pace attack, which worked okay for them today. I just wonder what Australia's quicks were doing with the ball today, and whether you think that they're going to be a factor in the second half of the match as well.
Look, they're such high quality bowlers that they're always a factor on any surface, and I think today we maybe were guilty of 1 or 2 softish dismissals early on, but then later on they got the ball to reverse and controlled it beautifully with some pretty extreme reverse swing. So it was highly skillful stuff, and whoever's out there batting, it's difficult, and it's particularly difficult for a batsman who's just come in. If you face the reverse swing for a while, you start to feel a little more comfortable. But for the new batter getting in, it's particularly tough, and they've got the skill. They've obviously worked hard at it, and when it's reversing at high pace, it's not easy.
And sorry, where would you sort of rank Stark at the moment in pace bowls around?
Well, I'm not really in the business of publicly rating opposition, so I won't really comment on that. But he's certainly one of the best quicks around.
Andrew?
And Angelo batted quite quickly. He seemed to have come out with quite a lot of intent. Was there a talk about playing, a little bit more aggressively before the match? Was that a plan for that?
Look, we've always wanted to bat reasonably positively. The problem where we haven't got off to good starts has sometimes led to us having to play a little more defensively, but we've always wanted to try and play positively and keep the game going forwards. And Angelo is very capable against spin bowling, and I think he looks to try and score off them and try and disrupt them. That's very much a Sri Lankan way. Certainly when I first started with Sri Lanka, it was the general approach headed by Mahela. So no surprise that Angelo played the way he did.
Last Bill, Graham, in Falakele we saw a lot of the Australian wickets falling to balls that were not spinning, that were skidding on and that little bit of variation. Here we've already seen bigger spin and a wicket from the outside edge, which we didn't see there. Do you think that contrast can be a difficult thing to adjust to in the space of a couple of test matches?
Well, I mean, I think anybody batting when some balls are turning quite sharply and some are running on straight, for anybody that's tough. And I think as the game goes on, we'll see quite a bit of that. I think both sides have bowlers that are capable of turning it a great deal and also capable of bowling sliders or balls that run on straight. So it's going to be challenging for the batters here.
Last question, Rex.
Graham, obviously, you've been involved in a lot of games here in Goa with the Sri Lankan team. Can I ask you for your memories as a coach of the opposition team in Goa?
Of my memories
As an opposition coach?
as opposition to Sri Lanka, in other words, coaching South Africa. Look, I have some wonderful memories of this ground coaching Sri Lanka, and I have some terrible memories of this ground coaching South Africa. We had a terrible match here. I know Sanath Jayasuriya was 96 not out at lunchtime on the first day, and we ended up losing by an innings and 200 or something runs, absolute annihilation. So at that stage, this wasn't a very favourable ground in my list of ground rankings, but more recently it's become my favourite ground.
Thanks, coach. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.